This your boy HD. Everybody get up on the dance floor and go, and go, and go crazy, and go crazy, and go crazy, and go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the old to LA. Go crazy like a dum-dum. East side homeboy, where I come from. Dance on the floor till you go numb. No fighting, no hating, no red rum. This is OOO City. All the way to the bay, hit the bass, feel me. Catch a case cause it's beating up yo Chevy. Get you moving side to side, getting all sweaty. Make it work it, work it, work it out. Turn the volume up loud. This a draw crowd, make it all shout. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Hit play on the track and I'm ready. Like a quarterback, Tom Brady. Get you all in the frenzy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. The buzz and turn the club up. They tear the rugs up soon as we turn the subs up. Everybody hands high like a drug bust. Yeah, I'm from the West. Don't you see the dubs up? Baptize him on the spot, fill the tubs up. Now fraternize with the flock, tell him fill the cups up. The show though, original the photo. I go, crazy, crazy, yeah, loco. It's solo. The coach and notes I represent the Ocho. Immersing together to put the devil in the choco. Either I leave him on the mat flat out, I squeeze it till he black out, or when they see him tap out, they go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the chicks on the Ocho. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the Ocho.
What's going on? What's going on? What is going on, good people? It is Tuesday, 8:05, and it is time for another Scoop Show. We are so glad you have decided to slide on in here on this evening and chill with us for a little bit. If it is if your week, your very short week, is anything like our very short week, you need to sit down for a second and have some good conversation, and you need to do it with us. We were off last week, so you've been missing us like we've been missing you, and it is time. We were off last week. We weren't scheduled to be off last week. That was a last minute executive decision for us to be off last week. But we were. Fact remains, we were, but we're back. So, again, thank you for coming on in and having a good time with us on this evening. While you come on in the room, go ahead and if you would follow the instructions in that lead comment there and drop your city and state for us. Let us know where you are repping on this evening, where you are tuning in from. We do like to see just how far and wide this little show reaches from week to week, and doing that lets us know a little bit more before our insights drop. So if you would please do that for us, we would appreciate it. That also is our way for saying, hey, when you come to a party or something and you may not know everybody, you come on in and you do, hey, what's up? Your city and state breaks the ice for us here at the Scoop. Go ahead and do that. Find your kindred city state spirit and let's get comfortable. Also, we know that this is a busy time of the evening, so you may not be able to hang out with us for the entire time. We completely understand. If anybody understands, we understand it. It just it's a lot to do. All right. And this time is valuable. So if you can't hang out with us the whole time, don't even worry about it. We're getting ready to pop up a nice little way for you to follow us everywhere and catch that replay whenever you so choose. We got you. We know how life is. So we're not gonna make you sit here. We're not gonna tie you down the entire 2 hours, although we do love it when you get to hang out for the entirety of the show. We get it. So go ahead and screenshot this here graphic so that you can share this with the group chat, share it with your feed, let folks know, hey, if you missed it, no worries. You can catch us on the replay by following us on YouTube at The Scoop Show, on Facebook at Real Scoop Show, on Instagram at The Scoop Radio Show. And if you can't visualize this greatness right here that we call The Scoop, don't worry about it. You can always listen in via audio. Hey, SoundCloud, by following us on SoundCloud at The Scoop Show. All right. So you can tap in, get in on the conversations, and drop your comments, and we do talk back. So be sure and go and swipe on this screen right here, save that one, and drop that into the chat to let people know. Don't worry, if you can't tune in, you can tap in at your convenience by catching the replay. What's up, KG? What's going on, bro? All right, so this agenda that is packed, by the way, bro got us locked and loaded this evening. This agenda comes most often, it has come courtesy of our wonderful viewers, our wonderful followers. You all like to share with us the wonderfulness that you see out here on the internet, because we cannot be everywhere. We have a lot going on, and you guys are way more tapped into the good stuff than we are sometimes. So when you find yourself lost in the sauce and happily being following a rabbit hole, please tap in with us, share that link with us, go ahead and tag us into that post so that we can share it with our viewers, our listeners, and we can chat it up over here the Scoop way, Scoop style. All right, so whenever you see the hashtag or the graphic right here, it says hashtag straight out of the inbox, and myself and your boy are tagged, that is when you need to tap in. All right, you can tap into the conversation, let us know what you think, and if the conversation really gets jumping, it is something that you will see make it to the Scoop Show. All right, and again, like I was mentioning for the replays earlier, if you want to get caught up before the show and you're like, I don't know what we're gonna be talking about, but let me just see, in that good search bar on social media, you can hashtag straight out of the inbox, hit that search, and it's going to pop up our most recent conversations using this hashtag. So you want to do a little pre-work so that you can be locked and loaded, ready to go for that comment section in real time. You can do a quick little catch up by hashtag straight out of the inbox in your search bar and tap in with us. One more. Yes, and as we are getting ready to head out for the holiday season, and you are in the gifting, the gratitude, and the support space, where everybody's feeling a little more cheery, a little more giving, a little more supportive around this time of year. And we would be remiss if we didn't try and slide on in on some of that. Okay, and you have the opportunity not only to support the Scoop during the holiday seasons, but you can support us all year round with a small donation ranging in $5, $10, and $25 increments, and that is going to allow you to support the Scoop Show on Patreon. We are offering additional content, additional access, additional awesomeness into the Scoop Show, ranging, with a variety of goodies, such as our Patreon only updates in our private community, our Patreon only live streams, 20% off of branded merchandise, early access to event tickets. You also will receive Scoop Nation shout outs during our weekly shows and double Scoop only events that we've got plenty coming in 2023. So go ahead and tap in, get locked and loaded into that subscription prior to the new year, so you don't have you ain't missing nothing. All right, so when we start rolling out all this goodness, you will be ready to go. All right, so tap in with us on at the Scoop Show on Patreon. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm really good. I'm really good. Good week. Nothing to complain about. What about you?
Same. I snuck a little mini nap. I can't call it a power nap really because
Oh, power nap.
it was power, but you know,
That's power. Power nap is 15.
it lacked some punch. It was power. It was power, but it lacked a little punch that I needed to get me going. But it'll work. It'll. I'll be ready to go when we're done. I'll tell you that. I'll be ready to slide right back on into that slumber when we're finished. But it's been good. This tired is a result of doing good work. So you know.
Yeah, listen. Yeah,
Yeah.
listen. I said Q has arrived. We in corporate in the corporate papers, and I said, okay, that's my co-host. All right.
That was pretty cool. It was funny because that particular section. For y'all that don't know, I at my full time I was featured in our sustainability report for I currently co-lead our DEI group at work. And earlier this year we were asked our thoughts. I was interviewed about my perspective as an employee on our company's initiatives and mission and efforts so far in the DEI space. And those comments during that interview got published in our sustainability report that goes out to like everybody. And the quote was I did not know what quote was going to be selected, or honestly what photo was going to be selected until yesterday. So I come in and I see it and I'm, oh well, you don't have to zoom in on that, but that's it, because I don't necessarily want to put all the things out there. But so my quote was shared and I was proud. I am proud of being honored in that way, being not honored, being highlighted for my thoughts in such an important space in this industry as well as in the company. So that was very cool that they gave me one of them moments. So it was cool. Yeah.
Listen, I did a whole dance. I was like,
I appreciate that. I do appreciate
that is dope. That's dope. So yeah, I'm proud. I was very happy, very proud.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that too.
You're doing really good work.
Thank you.
Just in the conversation that we've had about it, I'm like, yep.
Y'all, this work does not just start or stop at the scoop for me. When I tell y'all I am passionate about our people, Black people, of course, but like people and how we relate and how we can do it better and how we can learn from each other and pushing against what's easy to do what's right. That's just kind of the chick that I am, is how I'm built. So it doesn't really matter what stage, what page, what we're doing. This is what I'm on. You give me an opportunity to talk about it, we're gonna talk about it. So I appreciate that. And being here also helps motivate those types of efforts for me, because I feel as though I have a lot of groundwork covered with having access to such amazing people with amazing thought processes. And you guys have stretched me and pulled me and opened me up to so many different ideas and experiences through yours. So it's not something that, I know I can speak for the both of us, it's not something that we take lightly when you trust us with your stories, when you trust us with your stuff. It is definitely we do our best to use it for good, and it doesn't just become clickbait and sound bites for us. It matters. So this was a good crossover moment for me, for my passion into the profession side of things. So thank you for that, bro. Okay. And thank you, sis. Appreciate that, bro and sis, all of y'all. Thank you so much for that.
That's that. We weren't gonna let that go without having that moment. That was pretty big. Like,
thank you.
That was pretty.
Don't get me teary-eyed now. Let's move on. What's on with the hot topics now? I'll have a play up here feeling all, away, I'm gonna cry in the car, but you gotta make this stretch just a little bit longer.
All right, I'm done. I'm done.
You know I'm a Care Bear out here. You know that. You can't do that to me.
Makeup, get the
my allergies.
my eye. Hold on.
Right. You making my little spray stretch today. My little setting spray is having to work.
Wait a second. So I didn't even know what this thing is setting spray, right? I'm probably I'm probably gonna get myself in trouble on this, but that's okay. So, we in the car, and Jamie's doing what she does, and
beating that face.
And all of a sudden she whips out this thing and like, I'm like, first of all, why are you getting it on me? Second,
it's a little mist. Just a little mist. You all right?
Second, I'm like, why do you need setting spray if you just put it on? I'm confused. I just sit there.
No, that setting spray is saving passers, shirts and shoulders and collars every day. Okay, every day. A good setting spray. My bad, sis. I didn't know I was gonna trigger.
I'm not gonna tell you about that. I'm not even tell y'all about the eyelashes. Now, I'm not gonna do that one.
Y'all have seen me post about eyelashes. Me and eyelashes only show up for the Back to My Roots fashion show. My eyelids, I don't do enough lash lifts, lid lifts, whatever it is. These babies ain't strong enough to lift even the babyest lash, okay, on a regular basis. These are special performance lids only, okay, because that is the only time lashes make an appearance with me. I can't do it.
I mean, it's a whole thing.
It is.
How do y'all do this every whatever? Just I could be no one. I do good enough to remember to put some lotion on my face after I wash it. So
no. I was talking to my coworker today about makeup because we don't have to we have a business casual dress code now. And after we came back from COVID, if I didn't do my face every day, I don't think my brain would get fully in work mode. If I could come in my jeans and my, crew neck and my chucks and, my hoodie because it's cold and just come do work, I don't know if my brain would fully shift into.
I get that.
You're working. So it's worth it to me to get up and do my face and get into that mode. That's a part of my process, but everybody doesn't understand it. My friend was looking at me. She was like, okay, whatever you need to do, but that will not be me.
I'm like that with clothes though. So I know if I wear, if I have business casual, I'm my mind. But if I'm going there, I go, I come in sweatpants and stuff. And some days I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a lazy day.
It matters. It does matter. It's not saying that you can't be productive when you're comfortable, but there's a different level of go that happens when there's certain things for you that shift you over. So me looking like I'm working,
I get it.
That matters. But
I get it.
I'm rocking my chucks though. The chucks are coming. I'm not giving up my chucks. Once I was opened up to the chuck ministry, it changed my life.
They're comfortable.
I'm gonna need those. I need those in my life.
All right, let's jump into these hot topics. We got a bunch of them. As I say, the hour is getting late.
Yes, they are.
All right, let's jump into these hot topics. Sorry about that, y'all. The makeup thing just threw me.
Little banter. You learned something. That's all.
Gosh, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna have to skip that one because it didn't come over. I wanted to do that one.
Let's talk it through. Is it one that we have to show?
No. Hold on, I think I got
it. Stop pouting.
But the problem is, usually I save them in my phone,
Yeah.
This week I didn't save them in my phone, so hold on. This one says so last week. So this is actually a response to Kanye and Kyrie's the trouble that they've been getting in. So for those who don't know, Wall Street Trapper is a gentleman who was incarcerated. I can't remember for how long, but he was incarcerated. In the process of while he was incarcerated, he learned how to do stocks and came out and now teaches people how to do stocks. So as a result to the canceling of Kanye, the canceling of Kyrie Irving, he responded by saying, cancel all of the movies that that show black people as slaves, cancel all of the music that depicts women in negative ways, and keep the companies showing black women certain light, or record companies that keep promoting black on black murder. He said, let's cancel some stuff that really matters. So that was the post. So my question was, is he right? Is this really what we should be doing, or is this a both and? What are your thoughts on that?
I think I don't fully agree with this. I think there has to be a level of discernment attached to this type of request, because when you say things about negative lights and slave movie, it's an assumption that there is a right way to show us, or there is a wrong way for us to be, and it, to me, dismisses a very real and valid part of who we are. There are a lot of artists, there are a lot of movies, there are a lot of our experiences that are being portrayed and shedding light into what it is like to be us. Everyone won't identify, everyone won't say, yep, that's me, and everything that they see. So to me, to just say no, cancel everything that looks like what doesn't appeal to whom, which isn't whose view of what black people, black women, black history should be. That's where I begin to question, because like if we had an understanding, a sound, clear across the board, this is what we are and there's one way to do it, then okay, fine. But that's not the case. So I'm not one for that. I think we glorify a little too much of what we see as far as celebrities and famous and money is concerned. And I think we will give a lot of that way more credence than necessary, because it is something that we aspire to be. It's something we're not familiar with having. So the idea of success and wealth and what could be seen as, next is easy to say, yep, that's me. But I think we have to also show more discernment in what we try and emulate in our lives.
So I agree with that as a whole. I agree that we shouldn't completely stop, for example, movies that depict us as slaves, and we shouldn't completely. This is what I'm interpreting what you said. We shouldn't. I think music that that speaks to that part of our culture should remain. I think my issue is the overwhelming amount of it that we see, and understanding, at least from the music side, that that there is a push from certain companies, like they'll say, like, this is all, we're not putting out that good, we're not putting out conscious music, we're not putting out that kind of thing. So I think that part of it is from what I will agree with Trapper, that we need more of that to balance it out. I also then had to ask the question, because I understand what I understand about business is there's this certain thing called supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to then ask the question, because when we put out content that is not, shoot a woman in the face, I got all the money,
Mm-hmm.
people, we as a whole, we don't support it the same way. So it makes me wonder, if we put out a ton of this uplifting, conscious music, would it have the same marketability? Would it sell as much as what we're hearing now? And that's the part of it that I think that with him, I have to say we have to take some ownership of that. Is that if we as a culture demanded,
Yep.
then those companies would have no choice but to produce it. But if we're going to continue to support it, we're going to continue to support that. And again, I recognize that some of the reason we're supporting it is because there is an overwhelming amount of it. So I get that too.
But to that though, there's also an overwhelming amount of the type of music that we're talking about now.
Sure, but
we're not seeking it out.
Right. It's not mainstream in front of us. It's not being fed to us.
Exactly.
As
we go through waves of consciousness. We have waves of, if something happens in the news and it sparks that thing in us that connects us and makes us, oh, we got to be, then we go seek out. Everybody's streams go up, conscious music goes up, the rappers with their clothes on, they go up, and the men who say whole words and have vocabulary, they stuff goes up, and mumble rap goes down for a couple weeks, and then oh, this is music, this is what we need, and we all get and
it goes away.
We push somebody else out, and and then we back in the thing. And then there's and then there are people who like that music and listen to that music consistently, but that is not enough matched with the push of we want this to happen. That music gets concerts, that music pushes all the other parts of the machine. It's not, and this is where I sound more business probably than tribe, I guess, but
but you see perspectives.
Tribe needs money too. So it's not their responsibility to keep us conscious, to keep us woke, to keep us socially aware and empowered. And that's our job. So as long as we continue to debate if this music is good, if it's substantive, if it's speaking for us, if it's enough, if it's whatever, then why they're not going to come into, why should they enter the chat? We're still debating when we've already shown what works, regardless if it's through streams or ticket sales or emulation or whatever. They know what's working. It's been working. So the only way it's going to stop working is if we start working together and deciding what it is we're going to band behind. There's awesome music. There are great artists. There's the lyrics out there. There's the anthems out there. They're out there.
Mm-hmm.
We're not pushing it. We're not looking for it. We're not talking about it. That's not who we're saying. Yeah, I heard that, but have you heard this? That's not what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a shared responsibility.
There's definitely some ownership that we need to take. Taking that too, because again, I think if we want it, they will gladly give it to us if they figure out they can make a buck. So I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is, the greater issue is, we have not decided this is not what we listen to anymore.
So, and I don't know if that's what we should decide.
I think we should.
I like trap music. I love me a Cardi. I love me a Meg. I love it. I think there is a place for it. There's a space for it. There is an understanding that you can separate music and you can separate what I'm going to emulate from what I can enjoy. I don't see us completely wiping this type of music out and say, well, I'm canceling this as a culture as productive also, because then where do all of those folks go? Where does what happens?
I think the point is, I think it's definitely should be a balance.
Yes.
I think my concern is, I think you probably give us a little more credit than I will, in that I don't think that the majority of us are in a space where we're able to make let me not say that. I think the majority of us are. I think, but there's enough people who can't. That's what who can't make that decision to say, this is not reality, and I don't need to emulate that. I think it's still too much of that. But I think that's just something that's just a part of having the type of society we have, is that you're going to have that. But I think we also need to recognize that too, that we need to recognize that when we're approaching people and dealing with people, we need to recognize that when we see things are off, we need to recognize like that something like this first. Yeah, I need to pay attention to them, because something. Right.
Music is a thing. That music is one of those subjects for us that we could go rabbit hole all day for music and entertainment in general, because it's so personal, but it is so broad reaching at the same time.
Yeah. That's why too, because it is. Yeah.
So there is a very real responsibility that is attached to celebrity, that is attached to our entertainment, because we are so.
Yeah.
We're not an academia culture. We're not. Entertainment is our jam. So, we have to come at it with the same level of responsibility that we would with our history, so to speak. Our history is being written in our music. So we have to very much pay attention to what we're allowing to be memorialized for us.
Oh, okay. There we go. I think that's the right one. So the question is this how a man picks a wife? So it says, someone who puts forth effort. It can be something as simple as planning a surprise outing for the two of you. Someone who is affectionate. When choosing a wife, a man looks for a woman who makes him feel important and appreciated. Intuitive affection goes a long way to achieve this. Someone who is has emotional stability and maturity. Both men and women consistently cite emotional stability and maturity as one of the most attractive traits in a potential spouse. Someone who is independent. There's nothing hotter than a woman who appreciates her own space. Someone who is ambitious. What a man needs from his wife is drive. A good wife will be interested in constant improvement and growth, and the drive to make things happen. Someone who has commitment. Men these days look for a woman who they can rely on both emotionally and physically. Someone who puts in the effort. It can be something as simple. Oh yeah, I said that. Okay, so yeah, what are your thoughts? You think this?
I think a lot of that is accurate. I think a man who is serious about his future looks for these things, who is in a builder mindset, moves with this level of excuse me, with this level of intention, and seeks out these types of traits in his woman. Yeah, I can see this.
Yeah. The only one that I was like, was the independent one. I was like, but given once I read the definition, I was like, okay, I can go with that. Yep. Yep, man. He wants his own space. She wants to have her own space. She's not clingy. I was like, okay, yep. I think, but the normal definition that we would use with that is not what this gave, which was what I appreciated. So
yes, we've made independent ugly. Independent is the E word now. It has negative connotations in relations to women in relationships now. Yeah. So that's a fair assumption that you made.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I think that when you talk to men and ask them about the traits that they look for in their forever woman, which is your question as far as a wife, they may not speak it just like that, but when in their breakdown, that's pretty much what those are the points that they're hitting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I thought I would have added, or anything you would have added.
What was mentioned about physicals? Physicals. Was there anything mentioned about physicals? Yeah,
Nope.
well then it was lacking. You needed something about physical something. Sex, looks, affection is not just enough. That's not enough. So her being affectionate, soft touches and, caresses ain't what they talking about all the time. Like there is a very real and specific component for physical pleasure, pleasing, whether that be to the eye, to the touch, whatever, that is important to a man.
All of
Yeah.
the above. I
Yeah.
am.
There you go. Yeah. So that is what I would add to that. Because
Yep.
all the other stuff, all the warm and fuzzies are and the warm and fuzzies and the practicals are covered. We cover things that are going to help support a relationship long term, but you cannot neglect that physical aspect and expect it to be for it to hit the way it's supposed to for him. It ain't gonna hit the same.
I thought the only other thing I would have added was fun. Like, can we be fun? Is she fun to be around?
True. Yeah.
I think when we're looking to get married, we're looking for somebody who we can enjoy, who we can laugh with, that kind of thing. So that was the only thing in here that I thought was not present. I don't, to be honest, too, I'm not sure how much ambition plays a role in what men are looking for. Like, I think
it definitely depends on the man, what his long-term goals are. Like if he's super ambitious and wants to be able to be fully supported in those ambitions, he might not want an equally ambitious partner.
Right.
But if he is ambitious and is ready to partner with someone to get it in, then baby, let's go. And I think that's really important for young couples, younger men who are on the upswing on a career and are in that build mode prior to babies, prior to, real responsibilities and attachments before you sign your first lease, sign your first mortgage, all those types of things. You are free to just grind. Yeah, he wants a woman who is also in grind mode. Also men who have raised all the kids, who have done all of that work, could possibly be on that second marriage or long-term relationship and is really, now I know what I'm doing and I've done all that other stuff and I have the space and the resources to catch up. Yeah, now I need a woman who is also in that mindset of getting it. And I don't need you at the house. I need you out here grinding with me so we can do this work, and make this money and live this life. Yeah.
Yep. You preaching real good there, Pastor.
Yeah, before a man who wants to build a family and wants that woman at home building that strong sense of, we're going to create this life together and our babies and all of that, he's positioning her to be ambitious about that family. I'm going to give you the resources, everything you need to make it so all of this works for our long game. So I think that's definitely dependent upon where he is in his life, how high ambition ranks on his, or where it ranks. The level of intensity ranks on his. Yeah. And I think sometimes that's what we miss. We don't always understand that it's not always that the people are not in alignment. It's the timing. That's off. And I think that sometimes we can wear a thing out because the people just feel like they should work. Like, oh, you should be so perfect. It's just not.
Different spaces. I would say different spaces.
Yeah.
Just like you telling people nothing is more important than your company. I would agree. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Yeah, that was a good one. I thought that was a pretty good.
Yeah.
Good one. Oh, yeah. We're moving through these, okay? Ladies, what's the first 5? Is it true or false? And what would you change or add? What's the first 5 things a woman notices about a man? 1, how others react to him. 2, the way he interacts with others. 3, how well groomed he is and how well his clothes fit. 4, how he reacts to women, and 5, nonverbal behavior.
Yeah, I think these are the first things that she's taking notice of about a man that she's showing interest in. Yeah. I can't say if this is like in her first interaction with him. I think this is a collective over, okay, now he's, it's got my interest. Now I'm watching how this person moves. Yes, these are the things that I'm thinking the majority of us are paying a lot of attention to. Yeah. How others react, the way he interacts with others, how he reacts to women.
Yep, that part actually. I think that context part is where I agree. When you add, this is somebody who has already got your attention. This is somebody who you're already thinking about. Then at that point, absolutely, it's like, okay, let me see. I always say, women are attracted to men. Let me preface this. Most women are attracted to men who they feel like they're comfortable leading, being led by. So I think that to see how others react to him, like I've said, if a man is in command, so to speak, like not in command, like in terms of, but he's an authority, he's confident, people listen to him, he treats them well as he's doing. When a woman sees that, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I could, because I think a lot of times I can picture him leading me like this, and I'm okay with that.
Yep.
So I think a lot of that. Now the grooming part, I actually would think probably would go a little bit earlier, like before, like, because I know that for some ladies that is a part of the physical attraction thing that you have to go through first to see if he's. But I also know that for some ladies, it's like, well, I could change that. Okay, I'm not gonna, throw him away if he's good in all the other areas because his pants too big.
Right.
Whatever.
It's important. It wouldn't be number 3 on my list. It would probably move, for me, it moves lower on the list because it is something that can be adjusted. Like we all go through. As long as I know that you take care of your hygiene, like you shower and that like clothing is not, that's something that can be adjusted like that. To me, that's not that big a deal. But to me, I think knowing, that's why I think so much of this, and you guys know how big I am about watching how you move with other people. So like a lot of that is not only from you get to lead, you have a potential to lead me perspective, but that's an integrity type of thing. If someone comes to me about something that my man has done, I want to be able to stand just as 10 toes as he is in that decision because I know it's rooted right. So like for me, how he responds to women is important. How well he takes care of other people is important. How he treats people in service related industries is important. You know what I mean? Like I don't, because that to me speaks to character in a person and their core. So they're not gonna need me next to him, babe. Now that's not what I don't want to mama you. I need you to be a good person with whether I'm here or not. I just want to add to that good. So those things really do matter to me. Yeah.
Like I said, and I think a lot of, especially I think as we get into like the mid 30s and 30s, that becomes a lot more important than it did early on, because it's almost like I just don't want to be around mean people. Like mean people.
Yes.
Like, oh no, like I just don't want to be. No, that's enough meanness around me. I don't need any.
It's exhausting
in my house.
Someone who is constantly you're having to apologize for, or that's not what they meant. If I got it, that's not what they meant. You too many times, I'm starting to believe, hell, this is what you mean. Like you realize that people are having a good, like you're not clear. If something about what you're giving is not clear, if it's always I didn't mean that, well, I'm gonna need you to clean up what you mean then, because it ain't clear. Like you know what I mean? Like that to me gives fuzzy. You know what I mean? And clear folks are ideal when it comes to building lives with and stuff like that. I need you to mean what you say and say what you mean and it be rooted in some good stuff. And I think especially for our age range, because that's when we start to identify what really matters. We're invested a little bit more. We've had some loss.
Yep.
We've had some success. We've had some stuff.
Yep.
You know, we got some weight on us in a different kind of way. So that frivolous stuff doesn't really hit the same or even hit at all. You know, a lot of that stuff that might have moved me in my early 20s is non-factor level for me at 38 years old. Like I couldn't care less. Probably don't even like it. Like don't need it type of thing. Like a lot of that is not even important.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got nothing to add. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Where'd it go? Just had. Guess I don't.
This is outside too much today.
Is it allergy season like that down there?
It's cold up here. We've got some snaps happening. It's cooling off, and we went from 4 days of fall to winter.
We did too. We went from like 70 to 40 and a day.
And my ears are my trigger, so I don't think I've had my ears covered enough. So I've got this nasally thing happening right now.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right, apparently this one doesn't want to come over, so I'm going to read it. So this one says, ooh, where we go? Nope, that's not it. Sorry about that. All right, it says how your partner reacts to your sadness and things that bother you should tell you all you need to know about how long the relationship should last. True or false? How your partner reacts to your sadness and things that bother you should tell you all you need to know about how long the relationship should last. So we know you say false. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. I think it's going in the right direction, but this is false. For the whole everything you need to know. It's not going to tell you everything you need to know. I think this is going to depend on when they learn that this thing is either saddened you or offended you in one way or the other. Their level of understanding of the why of that matters. And their willingness to understand matters. Now, after all of those things, and that's probably not an inclusive list, I'm sure, after some things have been addressed and some understanding has been had or not had, I think those responses can help you better understand how compatible or how long your relationship will last. But assuming that a person out the gate is going to think, oh, that hurt you? Oh no, we're never gonna do that again. And they're going to fight. That's not accurate. I don't think that's realistic.
It's not accurate. It's not fair because you don't know that. So how do you gonna expect somebody else to do that? You don't know what what makes a person sad and what bothers them. Even if you do know, you still don't understand it. And depending on what it is, it's a normal part of what you have been doing for how many years?
Yeah.
So I think I agree that at some point there should be some discussion about it. This is why I'm a huge proponent of knowing a person's relationship story and the relation and history, because then that helps you understand certain, what we would call triggers and things that make people sad and, potholes and stuff like that, because you'll know, because of their background, this triggers them or this makes them sad or this bothers them. So, so even though I don't necessarily mean it in a negative way, or, that this is to let me work on it or let's have a conversation, and go for it, and go from there. So, I always use the one about me. I grew up in a house where arguing, I equated arguing with ending the relationship. Mm-hmm. So I don't like to get loud and argue. Mm-hmm. However, if I was with somebody who did like to get loud and argue, and they did it to them, that doesn't mean that. So they get loud and argue. That means they're just passionate. That means they're just, this is how we talk to each other.
This is what we do. Yeah.
This is how I let you know that this is important to me. So to know that, and to know for me to say, okay, she's not about to leave. This is just her way of saying she's passionate. And for her to know, oh, okay, he's now feeling this way, so let me not do this. Somewhere we meet in the middle, and either in that way we can work through that. Then now, if that's, like you said, to your point, all thrown out the window, and it's like, I don't care how you make you feel, I'm just going, then that's
right. And we know people like that. We know people like that. We've seen people like that, and then we wonder why relationships are hard for those folks. And those are, what's funny to me is those are often the people that are the most sensitive, that require that energy from others, but like refuse to give it back. They have the longest list of things, you know, the care instructions for them is lengthy, but your care of, you know, wash me on cold, air dry, that's your only request. Wash me on delicate, air dry your girl, you know. That's too much. Why I gotta do all that? Why I can't just throw you everything else and more dry? Like, okay, you know. So there is I know where this is coming from. Right. You know, this is definitely there are people that we know like this. And I can say there are probably times where we've been these people and
guilty.
Have to okay. Listen.
Recently, no, I'm kidding. Not really.
Who call me out is me, okay? Like I have some stuff I will say that is stupid. Like I don't get it, and I think that's dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like if my words don't say it, I know my face will, and then at that point, a person will know. Okay, they ain't really feeling what I'm. This is a go through the motions, and it might be, but I'm going and I'm doing the motions, and hey, you know, I might the next time I might get it, but like I also have to own my a-holeness in that moment where I'm like, this does not matter to me. I'm not engaged.
So let me tell it myself real quick. I did what I did it Sunday. I was like, I was like, I just left church and here I go. I was like,
oh. Just left church.
just left church. I had to even get home, and I did, and I was like, I'm sorry. I was
because we're human. We're human, and everything is not going to matter the same, or we're not going to know that this needs to be a moment where I need to make this matter initially every time. Like we're gonna mess up. We're gonna mess up, but it is our willingness and desire to come back and try that again. It's what I think. Sometimes matters more than that initial shit. I messed up. But I'm back though because I know I messed up and I want to do better at that. Like, can we try that again?
Last time I had the thought, I said that healthy relationships require endurance. And I don't think we often think about, like, I think if we were looking at it from the metaphor of like a race, a lot of times people think that like good and healthy relationships are a sprint, and you know it's a 100-meter dash and you're done, and crossing the finish line means we have a healthy relationship. It's not how this works. Like a healthy relationship is like a marathon that the marathon is the healthy relationship, like all of the different feelings and crossing, like there is no, except for there really is no finish line. Not in the sense like there's no finish, there's no finality to it in the sense that you don't have to continue to evolve and have challenges and learn and grow and get closer, and like there's always a new thing that's happening, and not in a bad way, not all in a bad way, but just there's always something happening. So you can't ever get to the point where you just get settled in the sense of stop trying. And stop working and stop
and strengthening the muscles required to run your best race. Yeah.
So it's almost like, and for me that was I needed to think like that because I often I'm a sprinter. Like I'll sprint real hard for a short period of time, and I want to stop and rest. And it's like,
Mhm.
no, you have to keep going, because the moment that you stop, you stop trying, you stop learning, you stop growing, is the moment really where your relationship begins to deteriorate. So you
Yeah.
have to keep going again. And I don't say this like, I don't, I hate the
Work.
I hate work. I hate the word saying relationship for work. If anybody doesn't know that, but it's the constant
Mhm.
going of it that I
It's
like.
the intentionality that it takes
Yeah.
to prepare for and run a marathon. You
Yeah.
don't sign up for and do marathons when you are a foot race sprinter. Like, that's a different mindset in and of itself. Not saying you can't move from being a sprinter to a marathon runner, but that's a shift that happens. And even in preparation for marathons, and y'all know your girl has not run a marathon, okay? So I'm not about to hit you with no deep philosophical marathon analogy. But in preparation for marathons, there are moments where you go hard, there are moments where you rest. You got to rejuvenate your body, you've got to replenish, you've got to restore, you've got to check in with your mental and your body to make sure that everything is in alignment and that you are ready to go back out and hit that training again or push a little further. Like, all of that can be translated into what we do in relationships. So no, it's not a constant, okay, let me wake up and what do I need to do for my relationship today? And that, like, it's not so intense, because that thought, when you hear that, when you hear us say things like it's a race and it's endurance, and I mean, it's a long game and all that, it sounds like, well, you can keep
Right.
that,
That's
but it's not. It's not.
It's just the constant. It's just constantly going.
Yes, it is not something that you are ever going to hit a coast in and it stay there without you applying some type of pressure to keep it on course. So like that, I think, is the it's not always that you're constantly in the trenches and you're embroiled in this thing. Like, that is not it. But there is you cannot sleep on being intentional about the person that you are doing your life with.
It's not slavery.
It's not slavery. It is the most beautiful type of freedom, that you can experience with the person when you are engaged. Like, you still gotta be engaged. Like,
when both of you are engaged, it's absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This last one. Hold on, make sure I do this right. Yes.
We haven't had any side eye worthy ones yet. Is this one gonna be my side eye worthy one?
I don't know. This is the are these reasons a man will avoid a woman he likes?
Oh, I haven't seen this one.
You see this one?
Mm-mm.
Where's that?
Fear of spoiling everything.
Fear of spoiling everything with a beautiful and intelligent girl. Although it seems like a soap opera situation, it often happens that the boy does not feel enough for a pretty girl. He is dying of love for her, but is too shy to approach her. Perhaps only he sees it that way, and from the perception of any other person, they would be a perfect couple. He has a lack of initiative or has the habit of living under. This often depends on the type of relationship model that a man has observed in his family. Perhaps you have been raised in a female led relationship in which the mother was the sole decision maker. So it is very likely that this man subconsciously expects a similar scenario in his adult life. His feelings are not reciprocated. There's nothing worse for a man than telling a woman he likes her when she doesn't feel the same way. This situation can deflate his ego and cause him to lose a valuable friendship. You are not ready for something serious. A man can fall in love with a woman, and this is not in his plans. He finds her interesting and fun and therefore doesn't treat her like a one night stand. But at the same time, he's not ready to go further and start developing a deeper connection. Maybe there is an ideal plan in your head. Finish a degree, buy a home, and only then start a committed relationship. is angry or upset. Men and women not only think differently, they also feel differently. Traditionally, men have been taught to repress and hide their emotions from others and even from themselves. This is one of the reasons men sometimes withdraw when they are angry or their feelings have been hurt. He has a busy life. Between work, family, friends, and hobbies, life can be overwhelmingly busy for some people. If a man ignores a woman, it could be because his life is so crowded he doesn't have time for a relationship. He's hiding some secret. A man who keeps secrets may ignore a woman as a means of avoiding accidental slip ups. He could be hiding something like he's married, or it could be something small like finding your phone irritating.
Ding, 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 ding.
Everybody's like, that's not small. Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
No, when I read it, I was like,
that one should have been higher up on the list. You a liar. Jesus. Okay. So I do believe that there is some truth to some of these options. I do. Yeah. But I don't think it stopped a man from still. It's given a lot of men pause, but I don't think it's overall stopped them. Like he's thought about it. But homie is still coming, okay? He's gonna show up. Just saying. Like men out here these days are wild, bro. Like they are very, very proud of themselves. Woo. I'm sorry. Sorry. But yeah. Make that big one more time. I swear I haven't seen this one. Fear of spoiling everything with a beautiful, intelligent girl. I think a man that'll give him pause, but then he'll go into homework mode more often than be completely turned off and avoid speaking to her. He has a lack of initiative or has the habit of living under. I did not like that example for that one. My face was all turned up for that one. Just ew. His feelings are not reciprocated. There's nothing worse for a man than telling a woman he like, well, yeah, it's his life. It does suck. That does suck. That could give a man pause, especially if he feels that she is, doing air quotes, out of his league. Not ready for something serious. Yeah, that ain't stopped him. He will. Those are how we get. That's where half of our agenda comes from. In situations like that.
Some of us is that. Yeah.
Yeah, because, and I think, okay, you can make it small now because I know you can't slide through those, but I think the not ready for something serious that one happens probably more often than a lot of these others, as far as something that it would hinder a man from really pursuing a woman. Because when a man identifies, that's that whole she's wife material, you don't play with that type. Like she's, there are certain girls who men know early, okay, she ain't for that BS. That's who, when you get serious, that's who you try and really pursue. Yes. I don't know, you always know who she is up front. Right. You can start, you just randomly meet a woman, could be platonic, could be work, whatever it is, and you start to hang out with a person before you like, wait a minute, pause. This chick could be the chick, and I am not ready for her yet. And you don't really know what to do with her. I think a lot of men don't really know how to express to that woman that, okay, how do you say I will eventually want to be and take you serious, but not yet. I still want to do X, Y, Z. I still got to do da 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 before I come back to you. Like no woman is gonna be like, oh, okay, how do you, boo? Like that's not how he sees that playing out in his head. And truthfully, it's rarely how that would play out. Well, you better get ready because here and now, homie. Like that's how a lot of women are moving right now. So of all of these, I think that one seems the most realistic. That would give a man a true pause because he doesn't want to mess it up. He's not going to do her wrong because even if she's not going to be mine, I don't need to hurt her because I see something different in her. So I think that one to me, I think stands out more than the others as accurate. For a reason why he ain't gonna say that. He might be like, okay, back. Although I think that's also the most difficult because you don't want to see that girl with another guy who is either ready or playing ready in the meantime. So
that's true.
You know, again, that's why that one creates so much of our agenda. Variations of that scenario is why the scoop has been going strong for so long. Trying to play out to make that work.
I actually, you said you didn't like the one about the living under. I actually think that's pretty accurate.
I didn't like that example. I didn't like that example. But it's living under. I don't know. I could be because I'm in solidarity with a lot of the situations of mamas and single parents. That's not my situation, but to say like, to me, the whole, he has a lack of initiative or has the habit of living under. And then the example that it shows is this often depends on the type of relationship model he's had in his family. Okay, fine. Perhaps you have been raised by a female-led relationship in which, I don't know, it just makes it seem like that is like he had a less than life simply because that was the situation. And like, that's the only thing he knows. Like he doesn't, I don't know. Again, I own the fact that I could have brought something into that, but that, and again, like how you thought about independent earlier, it took me to that, you know, single mothers are the bane of the Black family existence. And, you know, now he don't know how to live because he was raised by a single, the whole under attachment to the single mother. I was like, what? Like,
okay.
You know, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't take it that way. I took it more of that's just how, because that was something that he never saw. It was something that he never saw modeled. It wasn't something that he knew what to do. I didn't take it as a negative thing. It's just somehow some of it is. Like I don't know how to fix stuff because me and my dad didn't go fix a lot of stuff. That doesn't mean either my dad. It just means we don't fix stuff. So now he does. But yeah, so I can see that. Yeah, I think a lot of these were accurate. I think the biggest thing comes. I think that first one that you said is usually the fear of spoiling everything with the beautiful and intelligent girl is probably a lot of the reason why. I think that our self-awareness and self-esteem play a lot more into not just who we approach, but how we approach women. And so if we don't have, if a woman makes us feel insecure, or a woman makes us, or we meet a woman that we feel, again, is out of our league, then we will avoid her, or we won't take a direct approach to her, which, depending on the type of woman that it is, will be definitely problematic. So I think we have to, I do think, to your point, we go in the homework mode, but sometimes I think we stay there because we realize I'm not there. So I'm going to live her life. I'm going to stay in my lane.
I'm going to observe from afar. I'm going to admire from afar.
I'm a 6. I'm going to stay with the 6s. I'm not going to try to go to the 10s because the 10s drive faster than me, and I can't drive that fast. So, but I told you before, I've been there before. I remember a time I was only been one time where I was with some, where I was like, yeah, she's out of my league. And the reality was she wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just how I thought of myself at the time, because
the confidence
was that I just completely nutted up the whole thing. Like it was.
You got in your head.
I got
in your head.
way in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when it was after it was over, I was like, that was just dumb. Cause she wasn't even thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't thinking half the stuff that I was concerned about. She wasn't even thinking about. So
Yeah.
it was just stupid. But I learned, live and learn.
You do.
Live and learn. So it was a good experience too. I'll say that it's a really good experience. I'm glad I had.
I think the reason why I made that joke, or I know the reason why I made that joke earlier, is because that I think there's a level of intimidation that a man will get, or a reservation that a man will get. But like here lately, it feels like that has gotten smaller and smaller. There is no league. Everybody's out here. It's free agency, open season. We could trade all day. Like everybody is free game. No, there is no I'm a 6. I'm gonna stay with the 6 is 6. I'm not interested in 6. 6s are no longer interested in 6s. 6s are like 3s to 6s these days. Yes, everybody's swinging for the Raptors. And I mean, it works. And in some cases, it's been working. So
and I'm not against it either. I'm with
it happens. That's why I'm like, shoot. Of all of them, that one that I held on to a little bit was what, because all that other stuff they pushing through. They're pushing past the resistance, okay, and making said passes as women that are feeling like, no, maybe not. Now they say, but maybe.
They said the worst thing she could say is no.
It's no. And I mean, he's not wrong. He is not wrong.
Oh, I just, I think what I think this is where our 90s and 2000s music has failed us. That we feel like we got to do it a certain way, and we want a Jodeci and Boyz II Men, and these kids is like,
I'm not mad at the Jodeci Boyz II Men era. Like I wish we would get back to that. Yeah,
I'm not either in the sense of like the way we related to each other, but I mean, some of them brought, they didn't help our confidence all the time. Like some of that music was not the. Now these kids, it's just so everything is not kids, young people. It's just aggressive, and it's like,
very aggressive. It is
okay,
very aggressive.
I ain't mad at them at all. I'll be like, yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm a little nervous though. Sometimes it's a lot with. Again, that's a whole other subject. Yeah. Like from a relatability perspective, like from the whole idea of, and especially in a time where we demanding soft from women again.
That's true.
But our approaches are so hard. It's like, why are you talking to me this way? If you want me, if the goal is for me to melt and get all and like, why are you talking to me so hard? I don't understand. There's no finesse. There's no, y'all know what I'm saying. It's none of this. But it's, hey, I want this. I want it like that. I want it at this time and be there. Like, and okay, like that. I don't chap. They can have that. Like, take me back. I will be the old bitch in the club when it comes to that. I don't no comprende. Like, I don't speak it in English. I don't understand it. And I'm not here for it.
A lot of them tell you is our age, though. That's our age.
Even after it's confirmed, you gonna get it. Don't talk to me like that. Like, I do not want to be talked to like that. Like, that's not sexy to me. It's just not.
Yeah, I hear you. But it's a lot of ladies who like it.
I know. I'm aware.
A lot of ladies who like it.
And there's plenty of them out there that y'all go find each other. Go forth and.
It's not you, huh?
Yeah, y'all DMX bark at each other and have fun with that. I can't.
All right. I'm gonna skip this when they go to our main topic since it's
okay.
All right.
Excuse me.
Our main topic tonight. You want to introduce?
Yeah. So I have been deep diving into the other podcasts other than our podcast here lately. So I've been reaching out and trying to listen to some other things. And over the past week, because I think this clip is like 7 days old, something like that. It was recently shared. I am a huge Trevor Noah fan, and I am a Daily Show fan, even prior to Trevor Noah. So been on that loop for a while now. And about a week ago, Trevor, in one of his after show segments, I believe, he shared a clip. He was talking about how men have, there's this huge thing about how men are talking about they're not getting enough sex. And, it's something that we talked about a lot here, even how whenever they're talking about what they want, it's they're not getting enough sex. They're not getting the sex that they want at the, the frequencies and the types that they want, all that other stuff. And Trevor is in this clip talking about, have we thought that it could possibly be that men need more than just the actual act of sex? It is actual intimacy that they are lacking, and maybe don't know how to communicate that, don't have that experience with what that is to be able to connect. I need a hug versus I need nakedness, it's different. So this clip was and the reason why I brought up the podcast is this particular clip was mentioned on like 3 or 5 podcasts. And it was intriguing to the women who had heard him speak it. And the men that had heard it were like, I mean, okay, I can see that. Yeah, there is some truth to that. I still want my sex, but there is also some truth to that. So it was interesting. And it was also funny to me that one of the ladies shared this with one of her guy friends, and he replied, "Oh, cries in South African." So like, and this is an American Black man who heard this in its entirety with no prior commentary from the woman, just, hey, check this out. And his response was, "Oh, cries in South African." So I wanted to talk about it because it intrigued the hell out of me. It is something that I know that I've talked about here on the show, with the confusion that women have and what is it that men really want, because it looks like this, it sounds like this, but when it really breaks down, we know as women that it's often this other thing. So to hear Trevor speak it and then have real...
You want to play the clip?
Yeah, it was good. So yeah, go ahead and play the clip so we can talk about it. Let me mute myself.
Like the right to sex. Did you see this? Did you see this?
Did you see this? It was one of the wildest conversations people were having. And I think part of it came down to bad branding or whatever, but saying that men in their 30s are having less sex than ever before. They're not having enough sex or not having as much sex as they would like to have. And the number has gone down dramatically over the past few decades. And the first thing I thought was like, well, you don't know how much people are having sex. You know how much people told you they're having sex. That's the first thing. But even if it is true, it was interesting to see the conversations that came afterwards, because then some people were saying, this is why we need to have a right to sex in this country. That's why I say bad branding. I found it interesting how the framing always talks about men and sex alone, but it never talks about two things. One, very seldom in society do we talk about how the expectation of sex was often set by a society controlled by men, and women were just subject to it, And as that has changed, you would hope that now the dynamics would change. So one-dimensional. They go like, women, men aren't having the sex that they want to have or wish to have. And I go like, how much sex do they think they're supposed to have? Let's start there. Secondly, do they think they're entitled to the sex? And third, and most importantly for me, and I really feel like we don't speak about this enough, is people don't realize how often men are experiencing a lack of intimacy. And the only place that they can experience that intimacy is through sex. We've created a society where men are so afraid to be vulnerable with each other, to be, sensitive with each other, to care for each other, to love each other. Even saying that as a guy, you always have to change and be like, you can't just say, I love you. You have to be like, I love you, dog. You know what I mean? You got to throw it, like you can't just say it. And it's interesting because that is where I do feel women have done a much better job of being there intimately for each other. Not sexually, but intimately. And I think we take for granted how much in society men who say sex is the thing they're not getting are actually struggling with a lack of companionship of intimacy, of being in a space with a person where they're sharing, you know, everything from serotonin to endorphins to what humans need to feel. I hope we can change that conversation just a little bit more. I hope we get to the place where guys go, oh, I actually didn't need the sex. I needed to be held. And I live in a society where it's hard to be held unless I'm having sex. Because as guys, you can't just go to a guy and be like, just hold me. True. And I hope the conversation goes there, you know, not just from, well, a right to sex. It's like, no, sometimes you just want to be held. There are many sex workers who've talked about this, where they'll talk about how many men will pay them and then say, hey, can we just talk? Can we just sit on the bed and talk? And can you just hold me? Can you just... And I think if we have a little more of those conversations, a few more honest conversations, a few more vulnerable conversations, we may get to a place where it's not just about sex or no sex. It's people actually saying, oh yeah, we are full human beings who require a full spectrum of you know, affection and affections towards us. And in the same way, for many years, great therapists have been saying that women have to be allowed to express that they want and enjoy sex. I think we also have to encourage men in society to go, hey, I want to express and enjoy intimacy despite or apart from sex.
Yup. I love Trevor's thoughtfulness whenever he goes off on his Trevor tangents on the show. But I loved that he dug into this one a little bit more. Because yeah, this is and this is not at all taking away from what I think is a very real and human need for sex.
Sorry, Mike.
Oh, possibly, yeah. But and again, I'm not at all thinking that even he's saying that there's not a human need for sex. I think people need sex, especially once you know, in relation. It's just how our bodies are wired. But I do appreciate him challenging that men are solely wired to get all of their needs met by sexual intercourse. And I love that he challenged men to look at that differently and learn and possibly open up to learn different language and challenge themselves to experience different asks for intimacy aside from just get naked. I think that's dope. But before I go into that, what are your thoughts as a man on this? Because I know I shared this with you and was just like thoughts. I hit you with a you. What'd you think about this?
So I my initial thought was, I don't think, first of all, I start at the end. I don't think men will anytime soon, if ever, get to a place. I was like, I just think it would be really weird if the man was like, hey, can you hold me? To another man. Like that part, I was like, see, I was with you, Trevor, into that part.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think women do that either, though. As huggy-feely as I am, women don't be like, I just need to be held. But if we see that our girl needs to cry or just needs to be held, we will do that. Girl, come here. And just hug her and let her cry or let her do her thing. And I think if a dude was sitting with his friend and realized like he is in shambles over here, him being able to scoop him up and, hey, bro, I got you. I think that's what he means more than.
Well, and I think the way he put it, I was like, no.
You don't really do that either. Like
the way he put it, I was like, yeah, no, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I was thinking. The other thought was, I think what he talks about, what he was talking about in terms of, and what you were just describing, happens a lot. Mm-hmm. I think it just happens in such small groups. And it's not something that we talk about that happens unless it is something dramatic happen. Your mom, your parents, something happened to your parents, something happened. Like there's got to be something like that we deem as as appropriate for
real. Yeah.
But we're not, and this is where I'm in total agreement with him. I think that we need to have more spaces as men where we can just say, man, life is just really hard right now, and I just need my guys to just kind of like help me out, hold me up. Like I think that, again, I think that happens within one-off, and those things happen in one-off type things, or maybe 2 or 3 of you, but you rarely see, and I've never heard larger groups, meaning larger like 10 or more, or 5 men sitting around doing that. Unless only time I've ever seen a group of like overly emotional men, or just super emotional men, not overly, but super emotional men, was maybe like a church conference. And that's it. And that's maybe happened like once or twice. But for the most part, you don't find that. And I do think we need more of those spaces. I do think we need to normalize, things like, hey, I'm just not mentally well right now, and I just need to cry. I feel like I'm gonna cry. I just need to do that. And then I think we also need to be able to develop the language, and b the trust in our woman to do that. And I don't think, I'm gonna say, I don't think that's a space that most women, especially your forever woman, is something that she does not want, or that's something that she cannot handle. I think that if she knows that this is something that is that this space of your relationship is the place where you want and need to do that, she will be very receptive, and welcoming to you doing that, and being that person for you. But I also think, again, that men need that space with each other, because I do think that from an emotional standpoint, you all can do a wonderful job of supporting us. But the thing I always tell my boys is, you can be emotional. As a man, you can and you should be emotional and emote and say how you feel and articulate that well. But after a minute or two, you got to start thinking about a solution, because we don't live in a world where, as a man, especially if you are leading anything, a family, yourself, I think this is true for women too. So let me say that, that you can stay in that space for too long. I don't think, and I will say this, I think men have a lesser time that's normally acceptable for us to stay in that space, than women, in my opinion. I could be wrong, in my opinion.
No, I think that's accurate, especially based on what we've been up against. There is a different level of urgency for us to solution our problems within our community that does not allow for a lot of patience and grace for sitting in a feeling. And you were right in kind of spreading that across the board for men and women, because we got to suck our stuff up pretty quick, because we got to keep going as a collective. So that is very accurate. And that's not saying that that's how we want it. That is a consequence of our environment. That is the short fuse that we give each other to feel. And I think him calling it out and making that separation of, how women can do it so much for each other, and how women are now, he didn't say this, but I'm digging a little bit deeper, but how women are now more comfortable with asking for what we need differently than what we have before. Because there's been a lot of confusion about what women want and need to be full, as opposed to what we truly want and need to be full. In the same way, I think there's been a misdirection as far as what men need to feel full and supported and whole as men. I think, like he said, part of that is greatly an inside job. Sex is easier. It's easier to say, just get naked. You know what I mean? And in a lot of ways, we as women do not have the correct tool set to be able to pull that out of men. because it's met with resistance. We can know that our man needs a different type of engagement that is not get naked. And there's only so many times you can attempt that and get pushback. He said, no, just get naked, man. Before you be like, okay, naked. Got it. And then when it bubbles and it's big and then it's just a big thing, now you have a whole other relationship issue that's attached to it because she's been trying to get to the thing that you needed, but now it's been covered with naked. So now there's possibly an issue now that she got with naked. Now we've created a whole reverse issue because we couldn't really deal with the thing that needed to be dealt with. So women are struggling because we've known for a long time that there was more that was needed. And now that we've been able to do that for ourselves and heal so much and find a different level of fixed in finding that serotonin endorphin cocktail that that feels good too. Oh, okay. And try and transfer that. There's a lot less patience and grace that we're willing to give to men who are unwilling to try. So that's a thing that we are also dealing with as women when having to love and engage with men. And I thought that was something that we could talk about because that creates a different level of strain and strife there that I think we're starting to see in some of these conversations and the desire for this soft. Where's the soft women? Where did they go? And all of they is hard and all this other stuff. And then the women are like, we know what y'all on. Never mind. Come back when you're really ready to feel. It's like, so we've got this resistance, but I think if we have more of the conversations like what Trevor's trying to have, I think we could honestly probably come back to the middle. But we're having so much of the we're done with each other in so many ways, with wanting to get to what we both feel is the core of the issue. What do you think about that?
I think that it is difficult to try to get to the core of it. I think it's difficult to try to get to the core of it when we have never. Well, first of all, that we have a large part of our who have never even gone into this emotional realm because it's reserved for women.
Yeah.
And so now this is, I think, why we're hearing so much conversation. I don't hear this often, but I do hear this conversation about the demasculation or of the emasculation of manhood, and you're seeing so much resistance against anything that is historically a feminine thing. So I think that we first have to not demystify, but what's what I'm looking for. We're trying to let everybody know that this is a human issue, human feelings. They're not feminine feelings, masculine feelings. They're just feelings. And yes, we might see them
just flat out humanize it as opposed to making it gender based. Yeah, just humanize it.
Like let's just say this is a feeling. All the feelings which is Trevor points that out. Like this is something that's just a human need. Intimacy is a human need. Wanting to be loved is a human need, a good human need, a normal human need. So we have to destigmatize. That's what I was looking for. Stigmatize this as this thing that says this is only for women. Mike says, please define masculine. We have defined culturally masculine as anything that is hard or aggressive. And so anything that's hard or aggressive, that's not hard or aggressive, we're saying is
or non-emotional. Yeah. I think the cleanest is just non-emotional. Men get logic, femininity gets emotion, and masculinity gets logic.
Yeah. And again, I think it's fair for us to say that we have seen this has been the experience, the dominant experience. But we also have to say that it's dominant, first of all, for a reason. and two, that it's not healthy. Like, it's not healthy because we expect women to as she matures, as she learns how to handle her emotions, to add logic. But we also need to expect men, as we mature, to add more emotion. And so it's so it's some competency that has to grow on both ends of who we are. And part of that growth and maturity, by the way, happens in the context of relationships, which is why relationships are so important, because she helps you become more emotional, you help her become logical. But that's in my book that you ain't bought yet. So so the point, that's part of the point of the relationship. So I think once we do that, then we can get to a point where we're more open to the idea of not moving so fast to nakedness. Actually, let me rephrase that. I think that what will actually happen is it might not happen as fast, but it will happen more often, and it'll happen easier.
Mm-hmm. Because let's not discount what happens after a man has been sexually fulfilled. Like, he opens in a different way. There is a level, there is a window of vulnerability and willingness of emotion that happens then that is different than if you just hit them after dinner. Hey babe, want to talk? And I've got this thing, and they're like, not discounting that there is a certain, there's a cheat code, up, down, left, right, start, there is a cheat code.
Yeah,
but you've got to, she can know that, but if he also does not acknowledge that I am in this place that is now more willing, more open, more aware of how I feel, which now makes me more open, willing, capable of being filled in this space differently. That helps complete, I think, that intimacy circle for what's needed. Because yes, you could need sex to open you to be able to get that full understanding of what it is that's going on with you, because you could have sex as soon as that afterglow is over with, you get dressed, you shower, you get dressed, and you move on with your life. You still got that stuff, but if you needed to talk it through, you needed to be held longer, you needed to sit there in that second for a minute and just really feel that. If you're rushing through that, because men don't, we don't do that, that is that different. Yeah, that's that understanding of
you push it back. All you're doing is pushing
down. Yeah, that soft stuff. Like, no, like, and that is where we've gotta with your woman, we've got to shift where that's okay, to be able to sit there in that minute. That's the sweet stuff. That's, like you said, that your forever woman wants that. She craves that. And the more she feels you push that away, that doesn't become just man stuff anymore. That becomes our stuff. Because I'm not every woman. I'm supposed to be your woman. So if you are pushing that away, even with me, and I know that you need it, you're either bottling all this stuff up and it's unhealthy for you. And because I love you, I don't want that for you. Now I'm concerned. Or if it's not getting out with me, but I see it's getting released somewhere, well, what's going on? Who's getting that?
Who's getting
then that opens up.
Or you on social media giving it. But anyway, that's another. You posting and all your posters.
Could be. It could be. But again, it's not being done with who the person who signed up to do that job is. And we're missing, again, a level of intimacy that could be beautiful. And for what? Yeah.
Mike asked a good question. He says, how do we model this for our sons and daughters? How do you model? I think that's a good question. I think the answer, and Q, if you want to go first, you're more than welcome to.
No, go ahead.
I think we model this by letting them see, first acknowledging that we need to make a change, and letting them see us do the work, including the mistakes. I think they need to see us trying to have conversations and name emotions that we don't normally name. I think they need to see us doing the non-sexual intimacy things that that quite honestly are needed and wanted. I think they need to see us in spaces as men where we're not always rough, hard, aggressive. They need to see us doing it. They need to see you laying on it, putting your head in your woman's lap. They need to see, that sometimes dad doesn't feel good and needs to cry, and it's okay. But once I get done crying, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna figure out how we're gonna do this. And I think they just need. I think we model it by just showing it. For me, I think I try to show it by modeling my faith in front of my children, so that way they know, like, a part of me making decisions is my faith. A part of me, as I make decisions, I'm praying, I'm asking questions. You're seeing me go to other people and get counsel. You're seeing, like, I think that's how we model it. So then, as this is go to counseling, if that's what, like, whatever it is that you need to do, I think they just need to see it and us have the conversations as we are growing to help them. My dad started doing something so plenty of years ago, which I thought was really good. That helped me a lot, was telling me about his mistakes. He was like, yeah, and I didn't do that well with you and your sister. I was like this, and this is why I was like this. But now that I'm older and I'm not in that moment, I can see this, and I should have did this different. And I don't want y'all to do that like that. I want you to try it like this, or or just saying this is what I would do, but don't listen to me. Like, try, because I think that's honest. Like, I think I respect that. I respect that I didn't do it right all the time, and and so maybe you don't want to do that, but maybe you do. I don't know, because maybe it worked, but I don't think it worked because it seems like this now. And just having those conversations, I think, are huge. So
I completely agree. With that. And especially with your last piece. And shout out to Senior for taking that transparent route on. My kids will tell you, it ain't a whole bunch they don't know about their mama prior to having them and throughout. Like, I've showed them and told them about the decisions and the whys. Hey, look, when you get a cutoff notice and you got a little babysitter, you explain those types of when you're honest and transparent with your kids, you show them your humanity, and that things can be scary, things can be frustrating, things can be hard. And you're not, all that stuff that you're going to feel is very much a part of it. Mama didn't feel it any different than, Nana felt it, and Mima and them felt it. And like everybody had these feelings, and we all do what we can within the realm of our reach at that time. But afterwards, that come back and adjust and say, but see, this is where I messed up. You know what I mean? That I thought I was really doing it too. I just knew I killed it, and it came back and damn near killed myself. You know what I mean? It's like, then having those conversations help humanize you and them, because they look up to us as the folks who figured it out. And especially dad. Dad is the leader. Dad is the blueprint. Dad lays the groundwork. He is the foundation. We move when dad says this and this. So dad can't look like dad don't have it together. Right. Dad can't look like he's might be struggling a little bit today, beat dad down a little bit, and dad need to come drop the bag and put his head in mama's shoulder today. Like, those are the things that kids need to be able to see and watch happen. He needs to see dad need mom, and mom shift into he needs me mode. Like, that's something that we need as much as dad needs. You know what I mean? So kids seeing that, sons and daughters, baby boy can say, oh, okay, that's okay. Dad is struggling today, but tomorrow daddy's going to show up and that's going to energized dad because mom was here for him or whoever, you know. We don't always, and I think in a way we're even speaking a lot of time about assuming that this is everyone's life, that there is a mom and a dad and a, you know, and in the same home to come to. So if that isn't even the situation, I think being honest with your children, that shit gets rough.
It's hard, yeah.
Life is hard sometimes. You're not gonna always know. You're not right now, not tomorrow. You're gonna have to figure out a way to go, but you're gonna struggle, and it's not gonna be the end. And sometimes you don't get the solution. You get a hug. You get someone to listen to you for a minute, and that's what sometimes all you need to be able to sit back with yourself and be like, all right,
okay,
let's figure this out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they need to also see that.
Yep.
Just how after that, our baby boy struggled today, came home and he's sitting in the car. You know, all and can't get out the car without slamming. He's like you having all the problems in the driveway before you get, and you hey, come here. And you just hold him. Put the bag down. Come here. Are you all right? You good? Are you sure? What's going on? Man, Miss Johnson, I want to like that. He needs to see, kids need to see you go through that too. So like we can move through that. And I think we hide so much of our feelings from our kids until we can come to them and tell them what fixed feelings look like. You know what I mean? Fix your face. Stop that. There's a time and a place, but we all know time and place don't always check in with feels. Right. So you have to learn how to figure that out in the process. But we run from what things feel like. And I think that creates a certain level of hardness in our children long before they're supposed to have that. That robs them of a certain level of innocence in a way that this world, the music that we hiding from, the YouTube, the video game, we doing that at the dinner table, in the kitchen, in the hallways, in the car rides home. Like, we're doing that. So stop that shit. That's not there's a parental control for it. It's control the parentals. It ain't a setting in the app. Like, we have to reset our settings. Yeah. We are the first model.
I think we also have to then also support, like, we have to expect our village to support that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. We can't keep calling feelings simp stuff and weak and calling them little boy, you little baby, you like we can't, that cannot continue. The same way little girls who show leadership skills can't be called bossy and given all this negative connotation with that. A young man who happens to feel and show emotion should not be called a little girl. He's acting like a little girl. No, that's actually quite attractive, sir. Keep that energy. Like that's gonna get you somewhere. Knowing how to regulate that and communicate that. Yep. He's winning. That prince is gonna be somebody's king. Okay.
Like I said, I learn how to manage it. But absolutely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That was a good conversation.
Yeah. Shout out to Trevor for that one. Absolutely. That was a good breakdown.
Shout out to Trevor. I'm gonna miss him because he's coming off, isn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately. I believe it's pretty soon, actually. December, November. I think he won't be back in the new year. At the end of this show season, when they go off for the end of the year, he won't. I don't think he's gonna be back. And I cannot wait. Huh?
Who's the new host?
Huh?
They say who the new host?
They haven't. No, but he I will hope it is Roy, the dude that's on the show. Not Roy Jones. Lord, that ain't that man's name. But he's the dude that's the commentator that he goes to often. He's the black guy, older guy, funny as hell. Like, he's really good. I like him a lot. I think he would be really good for that. But I'm not sure. Trevor was so perfect he's so smart. He's so smart, and his takes on things has been so good.
Have they said when they were gonna announce it?
No, I think they probably in the background still trying to keep him. Comedy Central has not spoken a whole lot about their real feelings on this. They were all shocked. Like, he was at lunch with the seat president of Comedy Central like the day before this was shared and all that. And like initially it was like, well, what did they do to Trevor? Why is it? He was just like, it's just time for me to do something different. And I'm like, yeah, okay. They were ready to do whatever it is he wanted. You want to put the commentators up so you take a break and do some other things? We got you. Just do your thing. Like, just don't go nowhere. He was like, whatever you do, just don't go nowhere. And he was like, nah, but I think I'm gonna head on out.
I'm interested to see I'm interested to see what he's gonna do next.
I'm here for it, whatever it is. I hope he does more stand-up too, to be honest. I would be perfectly fine with him chilling from like a day-to-day show for a while and like give us really great comedy content for a while. He is what I think the elevation of comedy needs right now.
Very thoughtful. I like that.
In a lot of ways, yes. In a lot of ways. His book,
I haven't read.
Listen to his book on audio. Listen to his he has lived a very interesting life already. Like his life, you would not think that Trevor Noah had the start that he had and has lived the different variations of life prior to becoming the Trevor Noah that we know. And yes, Mike, his stand-up is
I've never watched his stand-up. I have to check it out.
You should. It's awesome. He's hilarious. Yes, he's good. So I would not be mad if he does more of that type of stuff. And I would love if he did some type of podcast where he does more of these types of conversations. Because, you know, Daily Show is very political. It's very pop culture-y. You know, I'd like to hear his thoughts on more of like us, what's happening in the world right now. Yeah. I think he has more to say, and I think he's ready to get outside of that desk.
Mm-hmm. Good. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So, for you all who don't know, y'all, this is our last show for the year.
We're tired.
Y'all know we take our annual break come Thanksgiving, so that's this week. And so I am. You came at the end.
Yeah, girl, we're going home now.
So, we're gonna play some replays, but we're gonna see y'all 2023.
Yeah, we're gonna keep chatting. Like, we'll still talk and have conversations and all that. But Tuesday at 8, it's you and the children. You and the babies. We giving you back to your babies on Tuesday at 8.
For a couple weeks, and then we'll be back. Yeah. Be back in 2023. So, any final thoughts?
No. Yes, there are. Since this is our last for the end of the year, you all have been the best over this last year. Like, there's been a lot that we have shared with you all as far as what we're going through personal wise and, you know, our professional lives, and we share a lot with y'all, but there is still a lot that you are unaware of that has gone on in this past year. And the way that you all have shown up for us and coming back here each week and engaging with us, checking on us, giving us the energy that motivates us to come back when we're tired, when we are frustrated, we have had the worst things going on in life, when we know when we can put our cheeks in these seats and sit here and be here with you guys. Yep. Damn it, that was the day. Like, I'm just getting there. Like, sometimes you don't realize how much you all give back to us. So for as much as you get from us, we get that from you. Absolutely. So I know my little old heart is full of gratitude for what the Scoop has done for me as a individual woman, as a business owner, as a brand, as a soul. And I appreciate you all. I am full of gratitude, and I am looking forward to this rest so that we can do the most in 2023 when we come back for you. So
you know,
enjoy the break.
You know what next year is, right? You know what next year is, right?
That's our 10, ain't it?
Next year is year 10.
Yeah, let's go, y'all. 10 years.
So
10 years.
this is actually, so for those who, this show is the 9th anniversary show. Our first show was actually last week would have been. Let me take that back. No, our first show was November 6, 2013.
Wow.
That's when I was.
And I think I've been with the show for what is it, 7, 8 years now?
Yeah. That's when the first show was when I was sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Sitting in my car doing the show by myself.
Yeah.
And the first show was on, what was it on?
Was it Blog Talk? Was that Blog Talk Radio?
No, Blog Talk.
Lord.
It was
that platform, boy.
Credit.
Shout out to Blog Talk.
Credit scores and what you can do to improve your credit. That was my favorite show. And nobody listened.
That was before we got insights and stats. That was before
Now, Blog Talk gave you insights, and nobody listened.
Oh, baby.
Y'all went back and listened to it, but that was a while later. But yeah,
we stuck with it though, and been through all kinds of different changes. It's been all kinds of different changes.
Maybe.
Folks have gotten starts here and have gone off to do beautiful things, and then we've had some amazing guests. What'd you say?
Some not so.
Listen. I was gonna keep. We was on having a positive note, but yes, and some are just doing things, and then we've had some amazing guests over the years. Like
one of these days, we're gonna have to tell people certain. They're gonna be like, all that.
We're not.
All that was going on. I'm gonna write a book. Like,
yeah, there you go. We ain't gonna say that. We just gonna
put in our memoirs or something.
Right. Our VH1 tell all one day on behind the pod. Like that's instead of behind the music, behind the pod.
Behind the scoop. Look at me. All that was going.
If y'all knew what it took some days to get this thing to 10 years. Jesus. Superstar.
It's been fun. So I'm excited. I'm excited about next year. And whatnot. So I will echo what you said. You don't know. Like a lot of my growth. I mean, I talk a lot about how divorce started it, or helped me. But this space, a lot of my development happened through conversations here. And that led to more conversations, that led to me reading and researching and listening. And so I'm grateful for you all. I'm grateful for you, Mrs. Willis. And so I am I'm excited. So I'm excited for what next year is gonna bring. I'm excited. Yeah. But I'm excited for this break too, because I'm tired.
I'm most excited for this break right now. I can get excited for 2023 after our break. Like on the back end of the break, then I can start thinking about 2023.
I'm so tired. I can't even lie to y'all how tired I am. So I'm looking forward to these next couple of weeks off to refresh and recharge. So, but then you know what's gonna happen in about 3 weeks. I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm ready to start. It's all
you see how it started. Listen, you remember how it started? Because listen, y'all, I know we gotta go, but I'm gonna say so. Wynn was like, so Tuesday's night's gonna be our last show, and I was like, no, we got 2 more weeks. We could do, take off Thanksgiving week, and then we got the first 2 weeks of December. Then we can break. And he was like, so, I mean, I felt the energy through the message. He was like, so the 6th and the 13th, and I'm like, I look at the guy, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's cool. And I was like, what you mean? Why? Like, I'm like, I mean, but I'm on whatever you on. So like, just let me know. Sis, I'm exhausted. Bet, me too. Let's go. Because usually Wynn is like, we can do it. I'll get somebody.
The other way around.
So I was trying to be team player this year. I'm like, yes, no, 2 more shows.
Usually it's just me saying, let's keep going. She's like, bro, I need a break.
Listen, I mean, we can, but like, I ain't gonna cry if we don't. Like, I can find something to do. Or not. Like it's whatever.
I was like, she really want to keep going. I'm tired.
No, she really don't.
She
She
don't.
don't.
She said, no, I'm good. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I had to hit her with that. I'm on whatever you on. We in this together. Okay, ain't no show if it ain't a us thing.
I'm like,
Listen.
I'm tired. I need a break.
That's called synergy right there. That's called teamwork.
Like, I'm tired. I know she's tired. I'm tired. I'm never tired. I'm tired. So.
Right. And I was really trying to talk myself into it too. I looked at my calendar. 6:13. Yeah. I mean, we could do that. Like that was really the thing I was doing to myself. I ain't got nothing on the. I ain't got nothing. I mean, yeah. Some just said, ask him how dedicated is he to the 6:13. How do you want it?
Please, want to go to bed.
Spidey sense is tingling. Like,
all the who don't know, usually Tuesdays are very long days for me. Anyway, so I'm usually I literally come in from work, sit down, and press play. Like it's
that chair be spinning, y'all. Smoke on the end of that chair.
Literally Tuesdays are really long day. So yeah, it's all good. I love it, and I don't want to do nothing else. So I'm good. So
wouldn't be nowhere else.
All right.
Would have been here on the 6th and the 13th too. That's just how much love we got for it. We would have been here on the and probably mad and both wishing we was off. Mad. Damn it! I wish we was only. Wish I could be asleep right now. They're crazy. So glad we communicate. So thankful we can communicate.
Like would have been mad, but still sitting here doing it and glad.
Doing it, okay? Doing it. Thank you, Cicely.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, baby. Y'all have a good night.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Y'all sleep well. Y'all go get Cicely's book too, by the way. Go to her page and get her book. I would be lying if I had it right in front of me. But go to her page. The guy gotta look it up.
Drop that info, sis. You know she got that copy paste ready. You know it's ready.
Get up.
Get up.
Get up. God's not done with you yet. Dr. Trisha Jones, and she is a contributor to the book. It's on Amazon. All right. Have a good night.
Bye,